don't know. You need to ask him that.
Did you?
Yeah, I'm not so sure. She believed it. I'm not so sure. But yeah, I had confidence. I know the people of the country, and they want to see things happen. And honestly, they want to see things happen quickly.
In a stunning turn of events, Melania Trump has erupted in fury after Robert De Niro's recent scathing criticism of her husband, former President Donald Trump. The Hollywood icon, known for his sharp tongue and no-holds-barred approach to public figures, didn't hold back when he delivered a brutal takedown of Trump. In response, Melania, usually known for her calm and composed demeanor, has gone on the defensive, visibly shaken and angry at the actor's words. This unexpected reaction has sparked a whirlwind of media attention, with speculations growing about the tension between the former First Lady and her husband's critics. It seems the battle of words is far from over. De Niro takes aim. The sociopathic, psychopathic, malignant narcissist. In the latest salvo of this ongoing feud, Robert De Niro has described Donald Trump as a sociopathic, psychopathic, malignant narcissist. This statement is a culmination of years of frustration and disdain that De Niro has directed toward Trump. It wasn't always this personal, but over the years, De Niro's criticism has intensified, moving beyond mere political opposition to a full-fledged attack on Trump's character and mental state. For De Niro, it seems Trump is not just a bad president, he's a dangerous man, someone who's actively damaging the moral fabric of the country. De Niro's use of words like sociopathic and psychopathic isn't random. These are heavy terms that imply something much darker than simple political disagreement. They suggest that Trump's behavior, in De Niro's view, is not just a matter of poor decision-making or flawed policies, but a sign of deep-seated personality disorders that go beyond the scope of normal political dysfunction. These descriptors paint Trump as someone who is not only self-absorbed, but capable of manipulation and harm without remorse or empathy. The phrase malignant narcissist is even more telling, indicating that De Niro believes Trump's ego and self-interest are not just harmful to those around him, but are actively corrosive to the well-being of the country and its citizens. While some may find these accusations extreme, they reflect the intensity of De Niro's disdain for the former president. For De Niro, these aren't just political differences, they are personal. His comments carry the weight of someone who has spent decades watching and interacting with powerful figures, and from his perspective, Trump represents a complete breakdown of leadership and morality. The Hollywood rhetoric, De Niro's cutting insults. For those who follow De Niro's career, this latest round of verbal sparring is nothing new. De Niro is a master of sharp, cutting dialogue. Whether it's in the gritty underworld of Goodfellas or in the intense moments of Taxi Driver, his mastery of words and delivery has made him a legendary figure in Hollywood. But it is perhaps his ability to blend his artistic talent with political criticism that has made his feud with Trump so captivating. De Niro's criticisms of Trump are often laced with humor, and it's clear that he sees the former president as the perfect foil for his brand of sarcastic wit. In one memorable interview, De Niro referred to Trump as a punk, a dog, and a pig, terms that cut straight to the core of Trump's ego. These insults aren't just for shock value, they reflect a deep frustration with a man who De Niro believes doesn't deserve the power he has. It's a public character assassination that De Niro seems to relish, not out of malice, but as a form of catharsis in response to what he sees as the national tragedy of Trump's presidency. De Niro's criticism isn't confined to name-calling. He's also made it clear that he finds Trump's behavior and the political culture he fostered utterly absurd. He's spoken at length about how Trump's actions are akin to a low-level con artist who has somehow made it to the highest office in the land. The accusation that Trump is a fraud is a constant refrain in De Niro's commentary. From De Niro's perspective, Trump is not just unqualified for the presidency. He's a charlatan, a pretender who has taken advantage of the system to climb to power. The 2018 Tony Awards, De Niro goes public with his fury. One of the most infamous moments in De Niro's public feud with Trump occurred at the 2018 Tony Awards, when De Niro took the stage and dropped an expletive-laden tirade against the then-president. Standing before a live audience, De Niro boldly proclaimed, "Fuck a Trump!" The audience erupted in applause, and the moment became one of the most talked-about political statements of the year. It was a rare moment of political defiance at an event typically focused on Broadway's best performances. But De Niro's actions were symbolic of the growing resistance against Trump's presidency, especially within the entertainment world. The significance of De Niro's public outburst cannot be overstated. Here was an actor known for his disciplined performances, someone who had built a career around measured, intense roles. To see him break from his usual professional demeanor and openly lash out at the president was a sign of how deeply personal the political divide had become. De Niro wasn't just speaking for himself. He was speaking for many in Hollywood and beyond who had grown disillusioned with Trump's leadership. In many ways, the 2018 Tony Awards incident solidified De Niro as a leading voice in the celebrity resistance against Trump. It was a defining moment in the celebrity activism landscape, one that demonstrated how figures in the entertainment industry were using their platforms to speak out against the administration. The Trump response, Twitter tantrums, and fake news. Unsurprisingly, Trump didn't take De Niro's insults lying down. Instead, he responded in his typical fashion, with rage-filled tweets. In the days following De Niro's Tony Awards outburst, Trump lashed out at the actor, calling him a very low IQ individual and criticizing his performance in various films. The exchange between De Niro and Trump became a spectacle, a clash of egos that played out in the public eye. What was most telling about Trump's response, however, was his consistent use of the phrase fake news to dismiss any criticism, whether it came from De Niro or the media. For Trump, the label of fake news was a catch-all defense against any attack on his character or policies. It was as though Trump believed that by labeling his critics as fake, he could invalidate their arguments entirely. But De Niro, undeterred, continued his barrage of insults, each one seemingly more inventive than the last. Trump's Twitter tirades against De Niro were as predictable as they were ineffective. It's almost as if Trump had fallen into the trap set by De Niro. The more he reacted, the more fuel he added to the fire. De Niro's lasting legacy: political activism through comedy. Robert De Niro's feud with Trump isn't just about personal animosity. It's also about his larger role in the political discourse surrounding Trump's presidency. De Niro represents the intersection of celebrity and activism, where actors, musicians, and other public figures use their fame to challenge the status quo. His comments about Trump have become a form of political activism, a way for him to channel his frustration with the direction of the country into something tangible. De Niro's comments are more than just off-the-cuff insults. They are part of a broader narrative about resistance to Trump and his policies. As an actor, De Niro is used to playing roles where he confronts powerful adversaries. But in this real-world confrontation with Trump, De Niro has turned his craft into a weapon of political dissent. Whether it's through biting commentary, humorous jabs, or direct confrontations like his Tony Awards outburst, De Niro has shown that he is not afraid to stand up to the political figure he believes is leading the country astray. The showdown continues. The De Niro-Trump saga is far from over, and as the political landscape continues to evolve, so too will their public feud. With De Niro's unrelenting commentary and Trump's tendency to react impulsively, this battle will likely continue to captivate the public's imagination for the foreseeable future. It's a rivalry that blends Hollywood drama with political chaos, turning every new insult into a headline and every tweet into a viral moment. As we continue to watch these two larger-than-life figures square off, it's clear that this feud is more than just about politics. It's about the battle for the soul of America itself, fought with words, humor, and a bit of theatrical flair. The spark of the feud, a string of insults. It all started with Robert De Niro, the legendary actor known for his roles in films like Taxi Driver, The Godfather Part II, and Raging Bull, unleashing his thoughts about Donald Trump. De Niro, having never been shy about his political opinions, has been a vocal critic of Trump for years. The actor has repeatedly called Trump out for his behavior, policies, and general conduct, often using fiery language to do so. In one particularly memorable interview, De Niro referred to Trump as a fool, a sentiment that echoes many of his previous public statements about the former president. However, it wasn't just the content of De Niro's criticism that drew attention, it was the intensity behind it. For De Niro, Trump isn't just a political figure he disagrees with. Trump represents everything wrong with the system. The actor's frustration with Trump's presidency has been palpable, and it seems that De Niro wasn't about to back down. This was more than just casual political commentary. It was a full-throttle takedown, and De Niro's sharp words were meant to make a point. As De Niro publicly aired his disdain, he portrayed Trump not just as a misguided politician, but as a symptom of a larger societal issue, one rooted in narcissism, self-centeredness, and unchecked power. De Niro's criticisms didn't stop at mere political disagreements, however. His comments also delved into Trump's character, particularly focusing on what he saw as the former president's flaws. From calling him a con man to labeling him a threat to the very fabric of American democracy, De Niro painted Trump as a dangerous figure who wasn't fit to lead. It's no surprise, then, that the response from Trump would be anything but measured. The former president, never one to shy away from a battle, was quick to fire back. But Trump's method of attack would turn out to be as messy as his presidency. Instead of offering a rational counterpoint or presenting himself as a dignified alternative to De Niro's critique, Trump resorted to name-calling and belittling insults that seemed more fitting of a playground than the world stage. Trump's response: a schoolyard bully's retort. If De Niro's criticism of Trump was pointed and serious, Trump's response was anything but. Rather than defending his policies or arguing against De Niro's views, Trump defaulted to personal attacks. Calling De Niro a wacko was one of his earliest jabs, and he didn't stop there. Trump's insults grew more juvenile by the minute. He mocked De Niro's acting career, claiming that the actor's movies weren't worth much anymore. Trump seemed to forget that De Niro was one of the most critically acclaimed actors of his generation. Criticizing De Niro's acting abilities was akin to a squirrel offering a critique of Einstein's theory of relativity. Utterly out of its depth and completely misplaced. In what can only be described as a masterclass in ineffective insults, Trump then gave De Niro a nickname: Punchy. This, of course, was meant to be a jab at De Niro's perceived mental and physical state. Trump, in his typical fashion, seemed to believe that a good nickname could cut to the core of someone's character. But this particular nickname landed with all the impact of a wet noodle. Far from being a clever quip, it was a reflection of Trump's inability to come up with anything remotely original. Trump's criticisms didn't stop at just his acting. No, he dug deeper. In a particularly low blow, he claimed that he never knew how small De Niro was, both physically and mentally. It's almost as though Trump thought that mocking someone's height was a valid point in a political discussion, as if physical stature had any bearing on the ability to lead a country. This sort of insult, shallow, petty, and childish, was as ineffective as it was predictable. It only served to make Trump look smaller, not De Niro. The Trump derangement syndrome diagnosis. But of course, Trump wasn't finished yet. In yet another display of his trademark logic, Trump suggested that De Niro was suffering from what he termed Trump derangement syndrome. This phrase, which Trump has used to dismiss any and all criticism of his actions, essentially posits that anyone who disagrees with him is simply mentally unwell. Trump's logic here is straightforward. If someone criticizes him, it must be because they're obsessed with him, not because they hold legitimate differences of opinion. It's an easy way out for Trump. Rather than engage with his critics' concerns, he dismisses them as mentally unbalanced. It's a tactic he's employed throughout his entire political career. Minimize the validity of criticism by calling it a psychological issue. Never mind the fact that the criticism comes from a wide array of sources, from politicians to journalists to everyday citizens. To Trump, it's all a symptom of his critics being consumed by irrational hatred. It's the ultimate act of deflection, a way of avoiding the hard work of engaging in meaningful debate. The politics of celebrity insults, a distraction from real issues. As entertaining as the back and forth between Trump and De Niro may be, it's easy to lose sight of the fact that these are not just two people fighting for attention. They're two figures representing two sides of a much larger societal divide. The spectacle of celebrity insults distracts from the real issues at hand. While Trump and De Niro wage their public war, the world is grappling with pressing issues like climate change, healthcare, racial inequality, and economic instability. The insults exchanged between these two men may provide endless entertainment for the masses, but they also serve to deflect attention from the true challenges facing society. Moreover, the spectacle itself says a lot about the current state of American politics. The fact that Trump, a former president, resorts to childish insults rather than engaging in thoughtful debate is a reflection of the political culture he helped shape. In a world where spectacle often trumps substance, it's no wonder that these kinds of public feuds have become commonplace. The age of Twitter wars and public insults has taken over, pushing more meaningful dialogue to the sidelines. And while it may be fun to watch De Niro and Trump go at it like two old schoolyard bullies, the real question is whether the public is getting the kind of leadership they deserve. The bigger picture. Who's really winning? So, who's winning this epic battle of words? On one side, we have Robert De Niro, a man known for his sharp wit, sharp suits, and sharp lines. He's a Hollywood legend who's spent decades honing his craft and shaping public opinion through his art. De Niro's criticisms of Trump aren't just random rants. They come from a place of genuine concern for the state of the country. He's not just attacking Trump for the sake of it. He's making a broader point about the dangers of the kind of leadership Trump represents. On the other side, we have Donald Trump, the master of Twitter, the king of public spectacle, and the man who thinks a well-placed insult can win him points in the court of public opinion. Trump, however, has a tendency to fall back on the same tired tactics, name-calling, belittling, and attacking people on a personal level rather than addressing the substance of their arguments. It's a classic bully move, one that has been a hallmark of his political career. But when you step back and look at the bigger picture, it's clear that neither of them is truly winning. While their feud may provide some entertainment value, it ultimately does little to address the real issues facing the country. Trump's insults, though loud and brash, are nothing more than distractions. De Niro's criticisms, though pointed and valid, are often drowned out by the noise of Trump's media presence. In the end, the battle of words is just that. Words. The real work of solving the nation's problems. of bridging divides and finding common ground, is happening far away from the Twitter feeds and late-night rants. In conclusion, while this public showdown between De Niro and Trump may offer plenty of drama, it's ultimately a sideshow, a distraction from the real work that needs to be done. And as entertaining as it may be to watch these two larger-than-life figures clash, it's important to remember that the world won't solve itself through insults, tweets, or celebrity feuds. If anything, it's a reminder that in the end, actions speak louder than words,